Alright, fuckers. Let's talk about X-Men. But anyways, in all seriousness, guys, welcome back to another Raunchy review. This time, we are talking about... Welcome back to another review, guys. I swear to fuck. Welcome back to another Raunchy review, guys. Yes, this time, we're covering X-Men. Who the fuck are the main characters in this, man?
If I were to guess, probably Logan/Wolverine, Rogue, Professor Xavier, then Magneto, Jean Grey, then there's the Laser Eye dude,
Cyclops.
Pryclops. There's Logan's brother, who they talk about quite a bit.
From the last movie.
They're like, this is Logan's brother.
You know what I noticed in this movie about Sabretooth? He grabbed Logan's dog tags. I know Bryan Singer knew nothing about fucking origins and like that wasn't even a thing yet.
But why else would he have grabbed them? No, because there would have really been no reason that he needed to go back to Magneto with the fucking tags and be like...
Well, no, he wanted them for himself. At least they must have had some relation. At least Bryan Singer knew that they had some sort of quarrel in the past where he wanted to keep his dog tags.
Logan as a character. Well, there are two really good characters in this movie, and they're the ones that are focused on, which is Logan and Rogue.
And I would say, well, not really Magneto, but he is another good character.
No, and Xavier and Magneto are both pretty good characters.
Yes.
I guess Xavier isn't built on as much.
No, they definitely start building on him more in later movies. But
The Last Stand is where they really build on his character, right?
I would say, honestly, the most you're gonna get out of, I guess, Xavier as a character throughout these movies is that he is generally just the same guy. I know we went off on Charles Xavier, which I think we'll get back to him in just a second. Let's focus on Logan.
I guess we know who the most interesting character is. No, Logan and Rogue are definitely the most focused on. And
yes.
I would say the most interesting of the movie, because it leaves you with a lot of questions about both of them, I would say.
We just watched X-Men Origins Wolverine, and it felt, at least for me, it felt different watching the character progress now that, you know, I know this about the character, you know. It feels like, not backtracking, but it feels like we're moving through it slower than we should be.
I would say that, like, backtracking isn't the right word for it. You're right by that.
That's also, like, if you think about these movies too much, and we probably
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. These movies don't work. At least, yeah, in this movie, he must have saw some stuff from, like, his memories. And by the end of this movie, he said, well, Logan, this is where you're probably going to find some answers.
That's only what can be assumed, though.
Yes. Other than that, I feel like that's mainly Logan's character, is that, like, he's a cage fighter, and then he gets picked up by the X-Men, and the X-Men pretty much tell him, here, go find the answers for yourself.
Right.
I feel like Professor Xavier just really didn't want to give it the time of day.
Yeah, dude, he's like, I got a school to run.
I gotta teach here, man. What the fuck do you think I am?
I got some science classes to go to.
Let's move on to Rogue. I pretty much just set in my notes Rogue Origins, because this is pretty much just the origin story of Rogue. So in this movie, Rogue and Wolverine kind of play the mediator for the audience, you know. Her origin is tragic, but they don't really go into anything very much. It's trying to set everything up, and that's what I feel is kind of weird, because I don't feel like I'm getting that character development that I
feel
want
like they didn't know what they wanted to set up, but they wanted to set up a couple things.
Yes, absolutely, and I think that is kind of very apparent with Rogue's story. The best actors in this movie are at least Magneto, Logan, and Professor Xavier. Like,
honestly, the main four are pretty good.
Like, yeah, they act
including Rogue.
Absolutely, I think they act really well
Rogue
for the movie.
was done pretty well. Maybe she could have been done better in fucking later iterations, but it's like, you know, this is also the first fucking try.
This is also the first try.
So they did fucking nail Xavier, Wolverine, Wolverine and Magneto.
even if they didn't nail him to like a T comic wise, they understood the relationship between all.
They did it well for movies.
Yes,
they
absolutely.
did them very well. They set them up very well.
Absolutely, like that's at least what I found is that like even though this movie is boring, still made me want to watch more X-Men movies.
Alright, this brings up a valid point which I brought up to him before. Origins doesn't deserve the hate that it was given. Maybe I hated on it a lot in the last review, but
no, we do actually like Origins for what it is.
Origins was a better movie than people let on.
And I think this gets into my next point of just like all the characters in this movie is I think they feel uncomfortable in the roles still. I think also plays a part into how people perceive the movie, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not comfortable in the role, that's gonna come off to the audience as well.
And yeah, dude, this was the first big comic book movie to ever come out.
Well, yes. Like,
correct.
There was
Batman.
Well, except for Blade. Blade came out a year before.
Blade, I wouldn't even say Blade really counts.
But it is still Marvel. I'm pretty sure what Sawyer was trying to say was that the characters feel this way because it was the first movie. Maybe they should have went a little bit more with the characters and like, you know, trying to make them feel more comfortable. But again, they didn't know if this was going to work.
Starts out with the kind of main character of this movie. Magneto's Kanye's least favorite kind of people, is what I'm saying.
That's a wild way of putting it. All right. Couldn't just say we're on World War II.
We're around World War II. Magneto is being put into a camp. He's being separated from his parents, and then he's like, no. Fucking starts bending metal and shit. Smash cut. Rogue's about to kiss a boy. She's about to fucking get some.
She's trying to get to second base herself, brother.
Is there
a second base for women comparatively to men?
Yes! If you're a girl, leave a comment.
Let us know. Is there a different second base for women than men?
Gets negative comments. And Rogue is about to kiss her what you can assume boyfriend, and dude starts dying.
Dying hard.
Yeah, he's
sucking the life out.
He starts smash cut.
She's
like, I'm gonna go where me and, I don't know, Bobby said we were gonna go. Nothing here but fucking moose.
And a bar.
And a buff-ass dude fighting in that bar.
We got Logan in a cage match, looking sexy as shit. God damn.
He's fighting.
He's got the cigar, bro.
He's got a cigar. You know, you hear a couple of metal fucking clanks as he punches and getting hit. Then the bartender's like, you gotta get out of here. You're a mutant. We don't like those around here. Because he bent the gun.
No, he cut the gun in half with his claws.
He cut the gun in half with his claws.
And then he was about to kill that one guy with his other claws.
And he was about to kill the other guy with his other claws.
Tags along with
Rogue
Logan.
witnesses this, I meant. And she's like, that seems like a dude I want to be around for the next couple months of my life.
Better hitch a ride in his truck.
Better fucking get a ride in this cold ass trailer.
He knew.
Something's in the fucking trailer. I've had a couple dead hookers back there before. This is a new smell.
This is a live hooker.
This is a live one, dude. I gotta go fucking end this one. Sabretooth comes in. He's like, brother. And then they fight for a second. This is the only other fight, really, until the end of the movie. So it's a bit of a fucking drag until then. Cyclops, Storm show up. He runs away.
This is just a whole bunch of bullshit.
Wolverine wakes... Dude, that's what I'm fucking saying.
It is.
Wolverine wakes up. He's in the mansion. He's walking around for a little bit. Oh, why are the kids around me? Oh, what's going on? There's Professor X.
You just get a whole layout of X Mansion and what goes on there, and they could have made it look a little bit more interesting visually. Also, give me some cool shit that they're doing, man. You know, show me all the cool shit that they're doing. Don't give me all the bullshit up top. Oh yeah, Mystique's been fucking around.
Mystique is Bobby. She's like, oh, I'm Bobby. Trying to get Rogue to run away, and she does. Wolverine goes to find her. Wolverine gets fucked up by Magneto. So they all go to find Rogue because Magneto took her.
Magneto's plan.
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
So
that's Magneto's plan.
Listen.
The world may never know.
His plan is to have Rogue use this weird Magneto machine that only Magneto can use for some fucking reason. Because it's metal.
It's metal, dude.
And it produces a bubble that turns people into mutants. Those humans that get turned into mutants, they can't handle that and they die. So his plan is very flawed. So that brings us back into the climax pretty much, which Magneto's plan by the end of this is to then turn a bunch of the world leaders into mutants. I think he was planning on just using Rogue until she died, so that this bubble just wrapped around the entire world until everyone was mutants. There's no way it would have reached to...
You would have needed a couple of Rogues.
This plan would not have worked. He might have gotten a good
You would have
chunk
needed
of
at
New
least
York.
8 of them.
So, we forgot to mention it, but there is a fight between Sabretooth and Wolverine at the end of this, which is kind of cool, but also, like, just what the fuck is this?
Yeah, Wolverine defies the laws of
It's so
everything,
crazy.
all of them.
They have a good dust up, I guess you could say, and then Wolverine fucking throws him off the Statue of Liberty. I'm pretty sure he died. We don't see him again. Or he just gave up.
A Sabretooth movie would be good.
I think a Sabretooth movie would be pretty cool. But anyways.
If you had dude just living a normal life, going to a 9 to 5...
And he's still like in his whole like X-Men getup.
Well, no,
like,
I feel like the getup is too
the
much,
pelts.
but the complete black eyes, the fucking beard, and the hair.
The fangs that he has.
And then in just...
Fucking, I imagine it would look like, do you know those fucking caveman commercials? Like, that they like put him in like a suit and shit. The climax of this pretty much ends off with the X-Men winning, Magneto's plot is foiled. And anyways,
it was foiled from the start.
It was foiled from the start, but it was just a flawed
He
plan.
didn't have enough women for that.
He saves Rogue. Rogue gets a new haircut.
Rogue's about to die.
She
She bleaches her hair mid-death.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, I got you, Rogue.
This movie kind of just, it just kind of ends. Logan goes and does his thing out in Canada. Xavier sends him out there, and then the movie ends. The last thing I have to say about the plot, definitely Sawyer's touched on this before, but the movie has a better start than the rest of the movie. Like, it picks up, I would say, really well, and kind of gets you attached, and then you just kind of peter off. I would say story-wise, this has a lot to be desired, honestly. To me, it feels boring, and I just thought that the whole time watching it's not like hard to watch, and I know that there are awesome themes being set up, so this does have very good
aspects. It has very good aspects to it. It brought up a lot of good things.
But there's still a lot to be desired with it, and I think that's the big thing. VFX wise, I think look good for the time. I don't think anything really stands out as looking bad. I guess the big VFX thing is their kind of CGI bubble thing.
The giant beam up in the air like in normal
pretty
movies.
Much.
That's kind of what it was.
That's what it was, but it was just a big bubble and it was just bad.
So when it was spreading over the city, it didn't look bad. But whenever there was a character,
whenever they put characters in it, it just
cut and pasted.
It felt like they needed to be integrated into the scenes more. I think the practical effects in this were solid. Like all the makeup they did, like Mystique looked freaking awesome. They had the black leather costumes.
It's not a yellow suit.
It's not a yellow suit, but
you get that in Deadpool.
You get that in Deadpool, and you will eventually see it. So it's not a horrible design for they're all supposed to look.
Does he ever put
uniform.
the mask on in Deadpool?
Yes. I'm probably in the wrong for saying this, but I just kind of wanted it to be a little bit more comic booky.
It was brought to a little bit real of a standard, which kind of set the precedence for the rest of the movies. They were not. The rest of the movies weren't comic booky after that.
No. And then the last thing, I just thought this line was still fucking funny.
Do you know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else.
Sawyer, I got some more Wolverine fucking facts for you. So, Hugh Jackman took ice-cold showers every morning of filming in order to help him get into character.
You think he kept that up throughout the whole thing?
He might have. I want to believe he did. That's pretty dope. In order to keep her look a secret, Rebecca Romaine, or the Mystique actor, had to sit in isolation, windowless rooms when not shooting, and had no contact with the rest of the cast, which made her feel like she was filming a different movie from the rest of them.
How thirsty were the fans?
They
of
must have been
2000,
thirsty,
dude.
bro.
99, dude. They were like, I bet Mystique
Looks fire.
looks fire.
We gotta.
They weren't wrong, dude.
They weren't wrong. The last one, Hugh Jackman got his testicles caught in his harness after a 6-foot jump off the Statue of Liberty.
Bro's got the torsion after that, dude. You ever hear of testicular torsion, dude? You know what that is?
Is that like hyperextending your nuts or something?
It's not good, dude.
It's not good, dude.
My final thoughts on X-Men are that it was a pretty good comic book movie. It wasn't super comic booky, but it brought real aspects in and a lot of good aspects that the later movies carried on. A more boring movie than you would expect, being kind of the first big comic book movie. You know, wasn't the best movie standing by its own.
I have to agree a lot with what Sawyer is saying. I agree with this movie does feel, in some regards, just boring and does just kind of drag on for a while. But what this movie sets up for just the rest of the Marvel movies to come out after this, even the MCU and stuff like that, it set a precipice for what movies could be and where we could take them after that. And I think even just for the X-Men universe itself, starting the career of Hugh Jackman as the Wolverine and just where he's taken that character now, this movie, it works in a lot of regards, but also in some regards it also just doesn't work. What would you rate this movie?
2 out of 5 stars.
No, 2.5. I'm going to give it a 2.5. What did you guys think of this movie in the comments down below? And if there are any other movies that you want us to review, leave them down there as well. Remember to leave a like on this video and remember to hit that subscribe button, because that subscribe button's going to be waiting for everyone. Deuces, y'all. If I was sitting like this...
See, but if I they'd almost think I'm the bigger dude.
I hate that. No, then I gotta sit like this too.